A very good morning to you. Welcome to NTV Today. My name is Mark Masai, and today we'll be giving a lot of focus on the story and the very latest from Sharon Otieno, the pregnant university student who was this morning found dead, and she was abducted earlier on Monday evening with Nation journalist Mark Masai, who managed to escape the hands of his kidnappers. And although he is receiving treatment as he incurred injuries as he made his way to some form of safety, and we wish him quick recovery, but we'll be getting the very latest on the ground in a moment. But Sean Carvillis is also preparing the sports of the day, and we are expecting, as you can see there, Sean joining me on the split screen, and we will have Oko Kusa with the latest on the Sharon Otieno updates. And Sean, what can we expect today?
Thank you very much, Mark. Very good morning to you all. Quite a bit to talk about in terms of football. We got Harambee Stars in action against Ghana. That's taking place on Saturday. There was a media briefing this morning, a media session for the national team. They were at the School of Monetary Studies this morning. We'll have the latest on that. Also the latest from the US Open, where tell you what, it's been really tight. Rafael Nadal almost going the same way as Roger Federer. He lost 6-love in the first set, but eventually prevailed in 5 sets to go through at the US Open. The main story from the US Open is the heat. The players are really struggling. And Tiger Woods has been named as a member of the US Ryder Cup squad. The first time he's going to be playing in the Ryder Cup since 2012. We'll have full details on that. Don't forget, of course, it's FIFA's International Week. Cameroon have been training in Nairobi as well. So quite a bit to talk about in regards to that. Sports on the way a little bit later on NTV Today.
Sean Carvillis, thank you very much for that peek view on what we can expect, and we'll be getting the full update closer to the top of the hour and indeed during the 1 o'clock news bulletin. But now let's do first things first and get the biggest story in town at the moment, and that is on 26-year-old Sharon Otieno, who was abducted in Migori alongside Nation journalist Mark Masai, and she was found dead this morning. At the time of her death, Sharon was 7 months pregnant, and the second-year student pursuing a degree in medical records and information in Rongo University went missing on Monday evening after being kidnapped by Michael Oyamo, it is alleged, the aide to Migori Governor Okoth Obado. Now, Nation journalist Mark Masai was also caught up in the ordeal, but managed to escape death by a whisker after jumping out of the moving vehicle. By Tuesday evening, Oyamo was in police custody in Migori awaiting a transfer to Homa Bay for interrogation. And we are now joined live by NTV's Oko Kusa. He is in Oyugis, and we are told that the body of Sharon Otieno is at the Oyugis Level 4 hospital. Oko Kusa, first of all, we are definitely very sorry to the family and sensitive as we even discuss and get the details to this story. But what can you tell us?
Yes, Mark, what is happening right now is that the body, as you mentioned there, was discovered sometime last night. Initially, the reports we got from the police is that the body was discovered within Kodera Forest, which is a few kilometers away from here. But according to the forest master whom we spoke with this morning, he says that the body was actually not found within the forest, but about 15 kilometers away from the forest. And thereafter, police brought it here at Rachuonyo Level 4 hospital, just behind me. So the body is it's actually right now in the mortuary there. So early this morning at around 1 a.m., her father, that is Douglas Otieno, actually presented himself here and confirmed that indeed that body belongs to his daughter Sharon Otieno. Remember, Sharon Otieno went missing, as you mentioned, there on Monday evening, and the whole of yesterday there was a search, but unfortunately it ended that way, that the body was found, in the forest. Those who have seen it and still can't confirm, remember, we are actually finding some little difficulty getting information from the police here, who have suddenly decided not to cooperate, unlike the previous days on Monday when they were giving us information. But right now they are actually, just giving tidbits of information. They're not very open. But so what we have gathered so far is that the body is bearing some knife wounds. So it's suspected that she could have been knifed by her killers before the body was dumped in a thicket, which is around 15 kilometers away from Kodera Forest. So that is what we know now. From here, we want to move to the home and speak with the parents. We were made to understand that the mother is distraught. Of course, as expected as a parent, she was expecting to find her daughter alive, but that has happened as it has happened. This whole ordeal began on Monday when Sharon is said to have received a call from Migori Governor PA, that is personal assistance to the Migori Governor Okotobado, a man by the name Michael Oyamo, who as we speak is in police custody in Homa Bay. He was actually arrested yesterday in Uriri, which is in Migori County, but was later transferred to Homa Bay Police Station as police step up investigation into this matter. We still don't know what actually transpired or how this all matter is connected to the governor of Migori, but those are issues that police are investigating as we speak right now. So that is what happened, that Sharon got a call from Mr. Oyamo for a meeting. He had alleged or claimed to Sharon that he had some information from the governor which he wanted to pass. And Sharon went ahead to contact Barack Oduor, who is the Nation journalist based in Homa Bay, to accompany her to this meeting. So when they were initially supposed to meet at a place not as Rodi Kopany, but Mr. Oyama, I'm told, we are made to understand that later changed that venue to Rongo, which is about 30 kilometers away from Rodi Kopany. So they went and met there at a hotel called Grasa, and after a few minutes, Mr. Oyamo excused himself and told them later that he was not very comfortable with that venue, that they had to change the venue again. So after that, they were taken into a car which was parked outside, a black car, and after setting out for a few minutes, a few kilometers, then Mr. Oyamo sort of asked the driver to stop the car and came out, and two strangers joined the people who were in the car, that is Barack, Sharon, and the driver, and another person who was sitting beside the driver. So from there, the vehicle moved towards Homa Bay. It passed Homa Bay, heading towards Kindu Bay, and somewhere in between there is where Barack sensed danger and decided to make a break for it. So later, the vehicle, the kidnappers at that time went on to drive away with the Sharon. So the search has been on, and unfortunately, it ended the way it ended, Mark.
Okokusa, before you head on out, just a question. First of all, on Barack Oduor's condition right now, we understand, as you've explained, that he managed to escape. Where is he right now, and what's his situation? It was that night after he had made his breakthrough. He went to report this matter to a police station called Nyangweso, and then from there they referred him to Kindu Bay. So from Kindu Bay, our colleagues went and picked him up from there and took him to Kisumu, where he got treated at Aga Khan Hospital and discharged. So as we speak now, he's recovering at an undisclosed location, of course, in Kisumu. We may not want to disclose exactly where he is because, as we all understand, his life could still be in danger if these people were actually out to murder him. Then it means, we're not very sure whether they will still have those intentions. So we might not actually really disclose where he is right now, but what we know that he's out of hospital, but he's still recovering from his wound. He suffered quite a number of injuries on his knees and on his elbows when he made this particular jump. Remember, after he jumped out of the vehicle, he managed to run because the vehicle went and stopped, and those two suspected killers came out to give chase, but he managed to find safety in a certain home. From that point is where, the home owner drove him to the police station where he reported that matter. So as we speak, he's out of danger as far as his injuries are concerned, but of course we are not sure whether he's really out of danger as far as his life is concerned, man. And just another question following up on that. Initially, people thought that the kidnapping was in connection to a story, perhaps, that Barack Oduor was working on, because it seems like this is a form of intimidation. But as you have mentioned earlier, it was actually Sharon who was called.
Yes, exactly. What is emerging is that Barack was on the trail of a story which was being given to him by Sharon. Apparently, there's a scandal that is, ongoing between Sharon and some people at the county assembly not county assembly, but the county government of Migori, sorry. So it's a story Barack has been pursuing, and Sharon is at the center of it. Sharon has been at the center of it. So on this particular day, there was some information, some feedback that was supposed to come from the governor of Migori County, that is Okoth Obado, and it was going to come through the PA, that is Michael Oyamo, who is, as I mentioned there, is in custody on suspicion of being involved in the abduction. And of course, now we are speaking about a murder. So there's a story that, of course, Barack was pursuing, and it was pursuing it through Sharon, who is now deceased. So unless we speak with Barack in details, he's still a bit shaken after what happened to him, and now that there's revelation, new developments that actually Sharon is normal. So he's a bit shaken, and we will speak with him thereafter and actually understand exactly what was happening. But we all know that, as you've mentioned there in the intro, that Sharon was 7 months pregnant, and therefore all of this saga is surrounding that pregnancy. And as police continue with the investigation, we don't want to preempt, but we'll wait and see how it ends at the end of the day, Mark.
Any chance that you would know whether the Migori governor is also going to be, questioned by the authorities because his PA is now in custody and being investigated?
Well, in the morning when he woke up, there were speculations that police had actually taken him in for questioning, but those are unconfirmed reports that we got. We haven't been able to confirm whether this is true or not. Remember, as I've mentioned there before, police have remained tight-lipped on this matter. The county police commander in Migori is not divulging much as at now. He's saying that this matter is now beyond him, and therefore is referring us to the regional police commander who sits in Kisumu. So who has also said that they'll be giving us a brief before the end of the day, a comprehensive brief on what has transpired. So we are waiting for that brief from the police to be in a position to tell exactly what is happening and what has happened, Mark.
Okusa, I'll let you go now as you continue following other leads to get us more, a bigger picture of this particular story. A lot, of course, going into questions about the involvement of the personal assistant of the Migori governor and what indeed was trying to be covered up as they were kidnapped. That is Barack Odwor and Sharon Otieno, who unfortunately passed away and was found dead earlier this morning, not in Kodera Forest as was earlier reported and clarified now by Okusa, but 15 kilometers away from there. And, we would say definitely send our condolences to the family as we follow this to the very end in terms of getting to the bottom of it and to the truth. Well, some of the things that are ongoing on this particular story is that police in Migori County arrested Michael Oyamo, that is the Migori governor Okoth Obado's personal assistant, on suspicion of involvement in the abduction of Daily Nation journalist Barack Odwor and university student Sharon Otieno. While condemning the attack, media lobby group said the move is aimed at curbing media freedom. NTV's Mel Miendo reports this is not the first time the media is facing attacks.
The abduction of Nation journalist Barack Odwor, who covers the expansive Homa Bay region, may tell a story of more than meets the eye. Migori Governor Okoth Obado's personal assistant, Michael Oyamo, is said to be behind the kidnap and assault and is now in police custody in Uriri Police Station, Migori County. Just before the arrest, however, two media lobby groups came against the attack, citing a ploy to suppress the media. In a statement, the Kenya Union of Journalists notes that, and I quote, "Intimidation and attacks will not stop journalists from telling these stories of infidelity and wanton corruption in the two counties where there are no tangible results of devolution, 6 years after billions of shillings started trickling from Harambe Avenue in Nairobi to counties." It adds that, and I quote, "The media exists as a watchdog to ensure there is accountability from leaders, and its work is not to please the county leadership and unscrupulous business community who have become millionaires overnight. End of quote. According to the Media Council of Kenya, the journalist was attacked in the line of duty. In a letter to the Inspector General of Police, Joseph Boynet, the council is calling for action, stating, and I quote, "The Media Council believes this kidnap is linked to his journalistic work. We kindly request your office to open investigations into the matter with a view of prosecuting the perpetrators." End of quote. Further action is being demanded from the Director of Public Prosecution and the DCI. Barack Odor was kidnapped on Monday night alongside 26-year-old Sharon Otieno moments after leaving Grasa Hotel in Rongo. Barack jumped out of a moving vehicle, but the whereabouts of Sharon are still unknown.
Like, I thought you're a good friend of mine. Kumbe you are an enemy.
Just a week ago, on 31st August 2018, another Nation journalist, Ndongo Gashane, was assaulted and arrested by police outside Murang'a Water and Sanitation Company offices while taking photos of police officers manning the gate as people broke down the barriers put up by the county government.
At the minute, had you identified yourself?
The Murang'a-based correspondent was roughed up and was only released after the intervention of the county AP commander, Mohammed Farah. August 16, 2018, two Nation Media Group journalists were arrested in Mombasa for filming the construction of a hotel that had allegedly encroached the beach. NTV senior coast cameraman Karim Rajan and Daily Nation photographer Laban Waloga were arrested while on official duty, with reports indicating that the multi-billion hotel in Shanzu area is owned by a top government official. The attacks were termed as vicious and a threat to media freedom. And in one of the ugliest scenes of media attacks in Kenya, on March 26, 2018, the Kenya Police Service was on the spot for assaulting and injuring journalists at work. GSU and plainclothes officers attacked TV and newspaper reporters and cameramen as they covered the drama that ensued when lawyer Miguna Miguna's planned return to Kenya from Canada. Nation TV cameraman and producer Robert Kishira was left bleeding while his camera and live broadcast equipment were damaged by officers. News reporters from Citizen TV and KTN were also attacked. Kenyan media has been under siege since the Jubilee regime took office in March 2013, with some of the worst attacks on members of the Fourth Estate in the era of multi-party democracy. Malmiendo, NTV.
We definitely strongly condemn the attacks on media freedom and any attempt to intimidate the journalists from doing their job. And this comes at the back of that story on the abduction and the kidnapping of Barack Odor, correspondent for the Nation Media Group in Homa Bay County, and Sharon Otieno. Of course, right now, the focus really is on Sharon Otieno, who was found this morning dead not too far from Kodera Forest. And she was kidnapped on Monday evening. This definitely being a story of interest because it does involve, as we know right now, the leadership of Migori County, as they had met the PA to the Migori governor not too long after their demise. And that is, I'm talking about Sharon Otieno. And thankfully, Barack Odor is recovering at an undisclosed location, but we'll be getting more details as and when we can. Okukusa is following up on this story. Now, as we know, it has been at least a year and a few days after the government banned the use, the manufacture, the use, the importation of plastic bags. And we want to look back and see how far we've come and what good it has brought in the country from all different sectors and how it's affected your life. So we'll start with various, counties with a look at what people are saying on the ground. And Bridget Sngana now joins us from Nakuru County, I believe, where she is with the county executive in charge of environment. If my director will give me the go-ahead to hand it over to her. Bridget Sngana is now ready to talk to that CSE.
Well, Mark, yes, as you have said, it's more than a year since the country banned the manufacturing of single-use plastic bags, and this has been something that this country had been all along mooting for more than 10 years. But finally, the government decided to heed to the calls of environmental conservationists, as well as lobby groups, and as well as government proposals to have this menace put to rest. But to help us understand how this county has been dealing with this issue is the County Director of Environment. And remember, Nakuru was one of the cleanest towns in this country earlier on in the 90s, but we don't know if that has happened so far. And we are with the County Director, Kiogora Muredi, to just tell us, this is a year after the plastic ban. You are an environmentalist for this matter. Before even we talk about you being the County Director of Environment, just tell us, post the ban, how are the county governments, or how the county is also adapting to this, and how are Kenyans maybe moving towards the use of other alternatives?
Thank you very much. Let me say that the ban on single-use plastic bags was a great welcome and great relief to waste management experts and governments in this country, and in particular in Nakuru County. Indeed, I want to say, post the ban, we have seen serious changes in the manner in which our environment is behaving. When you walk around this town today, you'll hardly find single-use plastic bags, littered as they used to be littered before, not only in the streets, even in our estates. The same situation prevails. I know earlier on, before the ban, most of our stormwater drains, of course, you are packaged with single-use plastic bags. Now they are really reduced, and you hardly find any. Other than any other waste, probably and silt, you'll hardly find the single-use plastic bags that were banned.
We're talking about a year later on, but we also have concerns from people about this other alternatives that people have been given, because right now you are allowed to carry your own bag to the shopping with it in the market or in the supermarket. But now there's also concern that these other bags alternatives are not really biodegradable, or they are not even environmentally friendly. What is your take on that?
Let me start by saying that the attitude of the people of this county in embracing the ban was actually 100%. I can tell you that the motivation that we've seen as government in terms of ensuring that we move along our people in scaling up and supporting the ban was really appreciated, and up to today it's appreciated. And that's why when you walk around in our supermarkets and in the shopping outlets, you find that really there isn't much in terms of people trying to ask how they will carry their luggage home or their shopping home. They always find an alternative, because basically the biodegradables that were thought to be, as you rightly say, some of them don't seem to really be short-term biodegradables. And therefore, as government, what we are saying is that we go back to a time when we didn't have any bags at all. Just take your own bag, and in the recycling sector in this county, we are also encouraging recycling of even cloth types of bags that you can carry several times to the supermarket, even in kiosks that used to be there, and I've seen quite a number of people doing so in this county. So it's not really a big menace, because basically we cannot remove the single-use plastic bags and then bring others which are posing even more challenges to environment.
Again, there's also the issue of now we need to move this ban further, not just on the single-use plastic bags. That was the first step. We have NEMA later on after this ban talking about the banning of disposable bottles. We're talking about straws, because even now the UN environment says that by 2050 there'll be more plastics in the seas than fish. Here we have Lake Nakuru, that is a direct physical body that has been affected by plastic waste, because even though we're talking about the ban helping in the increase of this in the environment, we have in terms of geography, our disposal site is upstream and the lake is downstream, and when it rains, definitely some of this plastic finds its way to the lake and in the ecosystem. And that's also one of the things that even the county Department of Environment has been looking towards. You've cleaned up the lake, but do we see ourselves going further, banning other single-use plastic items like straws, like bottles and other disposable cups that are still being used, and even the wrappings of bread and other foodstuffs in the supermarkets?
let me shock you, Bridget. In this town and this county, currently we've reached what we call a circular economy. And I want to shock you that you have a multi-million shillings business revolving around recycling and recovery of waste in this county. We have two serious organizations here, Nakuru Solid Waste Management Organization and Nakuru County Waste Reclaimers Association. I can tell you now, even if you are to take a walk to the dump site, some of those plastics you're talking about, you won't find them there. Indeed, they have been channeled into another, a way of generating circuits, which is even making more money. So basically, we have decided that we want to grow the recovery and recycling elements of our waste so that we transform the lives of our people, give them employment, wealth, and also stop this continued manufacture of things which of course don't make sense to the environment. And one thing I would also want to say is that there are of course some plastics which cannot be recycled. Say like these ones that are packaging yogurt drinks, these disposable plastic glasses that people walk around vending, coffee at night, and the straws. Yes, to us, even our own solid management bill that we've drafted, we've actually categorized those ones as things that should be phased out of the market completely. Because really, if something doesn't add any value, even after, being used, it cannot be used again or recycled into some important product that can be utilized to make money or create employment or eradicate poverty, then definitely there's no business coming to the market. And that is one thing as a county we are going to strongly advocate, that we don't really have to have these things around here. Yes.
Thank you. So Nakuru, that's the Nakuru County Director of Environment, giving us insights that this county is also leading in terms of recycling or the retrieval of plastic waste and recycling it. And it's, according to the County Director of Environment, it is a multi-million-dollar business that has started, and this is as a result of the ban on single-use plastics in this country. Mark, we can say that this is one of the stories that we might follow up on, but we are looking towards hopefully the ban of other single-use plastic items like we had discussed here. The plastic bottles, NEMA is already thinking about that, it's in the works, but sometimes some of the business persons or the businessmen usually say that this is something that they need to be prepared in advance for it to be taking effect. But we do believe that the government is still considering that as we move towards being a greener country and a greener economy. But we'll be following up on these developments from here in Nakuru County. Mark.
Bridget, thank you very much for that. And here in studio, I'll have a conversation a bit later on with those who have been monitoring the progress a year on and also in charge of the implementation. I'm talking about Geoffrey Wahungu, Professor Geoffrey Wahungu, if you may, who is the Director General of the National Environmental Management Authority. Also in studio is a stakeholder, Abel Kamau. He is the Manufacturing Sector Officer from the Kenya Association of Manufacturing. And Dr. Cyril Lazar Siewe. I hope I got that right. Forgive me if I don't, but I will in the course of our conversation. He is the program coordinator for the UN Environment program here in Kenya. They'll be giving us their feedback and perhaps what we can look forward to in terms of making Kenya greener. Let's hop on over to Eldoret, where we have a conversation with Lois Wangoi. Of course, we'll be talking to those who have been using the plastic bags on a day-to-day basis but have had to change, and will give us their experience of how it's been, what effect it has had on their day-to-day business dealings, and of course to see whether they would want even more implementation of a greener Kenya for them. Lois? I'm told we have lost that signal, but we'll be crossing over to her because she has quite some interesting feedback from people who use it on a daily basis or have been using it on a daily basis, and their businesses are affected quite directly by such implementations of such bans. And we will also be talking to, hopefully, with Bernardo Joang, who is in Migori, to get some feedback from the streets on people's changes that they have felt and would want to see even further in the name of making Kenya greener. Zacchaeus Mosame is at the Malaba border. Now, this is an interesting place to get views from, because in the fight against, or in the attempt to keep plastic bags out of circulation within the country, the border points are actually notorious for being some of those leading places of the entry of such, because, as you well know, Rwanda within the region is the country that has implemented this plastic ban. The other countries haven't yet, and as you would imagine, at the border points there's a lot of trade and exchange, and would make it a bit harder for the implementation within the border point communities. And yes, we'll be crossing over to those two locations, that is Migori and Malaba, hopefully as soon as we get it, and Lois Wangoe as well with her guests in Eldoret. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me this morning. And yes, just from the top of it, in terms of 1 year on, I'll start with the implementer of this particular, I mean, I know you know, it's a multi-sectoral kind of approach to this, but a year on, are we where we would want to be? Bwana Hungu.
Thank you very much, Mark. A year on, we are where we expected to be. And we have actually surpassed our mark by about 15%. We had given ourselves 2 years to get to 100%. We needed 24 months to fully implement the ban. We are at about 85% now. There have been challenges, but we consider that we expected around this time to be at 70%.
Okay.
So we consider the ban to be, by and large, successful.
So when you talk about, you know, 70%, which was your target, you are talking about at least 70% of you know, what was in circulation has been done away with.
Out of the market.
Out of the market. Okay, and you've talked about the challenge. We'll look at the border communities and how big a challenge that is in implementing this. You know, in terms of the cooperation that you're getting from the different counties. We've just heard from the Nakuru Director of Environment. And you could just give us the, you know, he spoke in terms of his docket, talking about Nakuru being one of the best. I wouldn't expect him to say it's the worst, but you can give us a scorecard of, you know, the counties that are doing the best in implementing this particular ban. I'll get an opportunity to engage the manufacturing sector. But first, from the UN Environment Program here in Kenya, as you've been monitoring this, give us some of the numbers that you would say give evidence that this is working.
Thank you very much, Mark. First of all, congratulations to all Kenyans. Kenya is now more clear. I think that everybody can really witness that. When you land now at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, you can really realize that the city is now clean. Even when you visit wildlife area back of Kenya,
yes,
then you can really realize that the city is clean. So we have to congratulate all all Kenyans, because they embrace the change. I mean, talking on this about this ban 1 year after could seem something very easy. Before we talk about numbers later, we also have to congratulate the leadership of this country. First of all, Nema and his director, the current CS, who is continuing what Professor Judy Wakhungu has really started,
right,
which is really a very good shift.
Quite a legacy for him, actually.
Before I come again to the numbers, if you look at what international media says about pollutions in general, you will notice that plastic comes really at the top of the agenda. And before Kenya banned the single-use plastic bags, plastic was not at the top of the agenda. It's Kenya who set that agenda globally.
Okay.
So I think that this is a very important piece that we all have to remind, that Kenya really put forward this agenda, and we are all now happy that the leader around the world now, they are pushing for the ban of the plastics. And I'm sure that you're aware that on the long side of the next General Assembly in New York, there is a side event on beating pollutions and phasing out plastics. And you have a very prominent leader who are being invited to attend this leadership dialogue. So yes, this is a fact. And again, we have to applaud for what Kenya has been doing.
Okay.
And it has not been a very simple and an easy journey. And what Professor Wakungo just said confirmed this. In terms of figures and in terms of numbers.
Can I hold you on the numbers first,
yeah,
just to get initial reaction from the manufacturing sector, if you may. From your standpoint, you've talked about it hasn't been easy because resistance was there initially. You had suits coming your way in terms of, private entrepreneurs or proprietors who feel that this ban really hit them hard and wanted it to come in phases. From your standpoint, what impact has it had in the manufacturing sector?
Thank you, Mark, for having us here. And near into the ban, what we see in our side, we have about 40. We had about 40 companies that were operating in the plastic packaging sector. Mm-hmm. About 70% have closed down since then. So at least 25 have shut down. Along that, we've had job losses of about 15,000 people, and the indirect employment resulting from this is large enough. Also
the direct or indirect?
The indirect from the 15,000, it's large enough.
Yes.
Also, the cost of packaging has risen for the manufacturing sector, which is a big impediment to the competitiveness of the manufacturing sector at large.
Yes.
And also, on the implementation side of it, we've seen a rise in illicit trade in the black market of the plastic bags, where we have the porous borders bringing in the banned plastics, which are providing like unfair competition to the people who are doing the alternative packaging.
Yes.
Yeah, on the positive side of it, we've had the stakeholders involved on the table. At least we have all the public and private stakeholders talking to each other right now. We are talking about having a move towards a cyclic economy, where we have input waste being the input raw materials for other manufacturing activities. Mm-hmm. And manufacturers are looking towards having an extended producer responsibility and take-back schemes. And we are actively engaging with the ministry and other private stakeholders to ensure that this comes into being.
Is it still your position a year on after the ban that it wouldn't have been that bad if we had it in a phased kind of approach and program?
Yeah, our position is that there is a better alternative to tackling the waste management challenges that we have, and going the ban way was not the right ideal manner.
Yes.
But now, since we already do have it, we do have to work with the stakeholders involved to ensure that we do better in the future.
Okay.
That we're able to have waste management systems that never existed in this country, where we could have all the stakeholders at least getting more included in the process.
Okay.
And at least we have a win-win situation for both the business community and also the Kenyans.
Because it's not about punishment, it's not about hurting businesses, it's all about having a good balance in the approach. But some people say it has to be the hard approach for you to really implement something. Everything is met with resistance in life. And we'll get to what we can learn from other countries and other jurisdictions that have implemented this successfully with what he says, give us a win-win approach, even for those in the manufacturing sector. And I'll get a response from you, gentlemen, as we also listen to the people on the ground. I'm told Zacchaeus Mosame, he's now ready to get some views from the people who are affected by this ban on a daily basis. This is at the Malaba border. Over to you, Zacchaeus.
Thank you so much, Mark. We are coming to you live from Malaba border here in Sia County. That is Malaba is at the border of Kenya and Uganda. And therefore, as you rightfully mentioned, we have a number of women here, Mama Mbogas, Mama Matundas, and who are actually affected directly with the ban of plastic bags. It's 1 year down the line, and they are here. They are going to help us understand exactly how they have been affected. Have they been affected positively or negatively with the ban of these plastic bags? We first of all, Mama Songa, karibu hapa. Tutaanza majina yako. Labda unafanya nini hapa Malaba, na tangu serikali iweze kupiga marufuku utumizi wa plastiki, wewe umeweza kuathirika kivipi?
Mimi naitwa Linet Amoit, lakini tangu watoe mambo ya makaratasi, tunaona saizi uchafu hakuna. Tunaona saizi hata matunda, mteja akikuja tunanunua tu yenye serikali imetuletea, tunaweka vitu hapo, tumeona saizi tuko tu sana.
Lakini sasa unaona kama nchi jirani ya Uganda, hapa kama hapa mpaka hapa ni kama mita 10 tu. Sasa nyinyi na Uganda hawajaweza kuweka ban. Sasa hapa huwezi kupata advantage ya kuvuka na kuchukua kuleta kufungia hapa.
Kuchukua huwezi kataa, utaenda uichukue ulete, lakini ukipatikana nayo utoe 50,000 au 20,000, si shamba itakuwa imeenda. Heri kukubaliane na yale serikali imesema.
Asante sana Anita. Kuna mama mwingine hapa vile vile ambaye anauza swanga mbele hapa kidogo. Utaanza majina yako, unafanya nini hapa Malaba? Alafu tueleza kwa ufupi. Umeweza kuathirika kivipi?
Mimi naitwa Melbeda.
Sauti.
Mimi naitwa Melbeda Kirapa na dili za fruits. Lakini tunahuzunika sana kuhusu makaratasi zilitolewa.
Sauti.
Kwa sababu sisi tunahuzunika sana. Kwa sababu mteja akikuja lazima unawe mkono ndio usafu customer. Sasa kwa hivyo tunaomba kama wanaweza kuturudishia, turudishie. Tunaomba hivyo.
Asante mama, mwisho hapa utasema majina yako alafu kwa ufupi tu uweze kueleza plastic ban imeweza kuathiri vipi.
Kwa majina naitwa Samoit. Mimi ninauza matunda. Na ningependa kusema kwa serikali tumeathirika sana kuhusiana na hizi makaratasi. Manake tulikuwa inatusaidia kwa kufunga haraka. Kitu kama watermelon ukikata lazima uweke kwa karatasi. Huwezi weka kwa hii makaratasi ni ambayo wenye wamelete hiyo. Lazima ufunge kwa karatasi ndio ushikie mteja. Sasa tunaathirika sana kwa sababu ya hiyo makaratasi. Lakini hapa nchi ya Uganda tunakimbianga saa zingine tunaenda kulete kwa sababu tunaumia sana. Tunafungia mteja akitaka kuenda nayo. Ni hayo tu, tunaumia sana.
Labda unadhania serikali imeweza kuafiki malengo yake ya kudumisha usafi kwa kuban plastic bags?
Haijatoboa bado kwa sababu bado hapa nchi jirani Uganda kunauzwa na makaratasi. Na tunatoa pale tunazileta. Sababu tunaumia serikali ilifanya kazi yenye aingi, tunaumia sana. Warudishe hizo makaratasi.
Those are the sentiments from Mama Mboga here. One of them that we are talking to them here in Malaba, Mark, and you can, as we can hear from them, there are mixed reactions. There are those who are saying that indeed the government did a good thing to ban the plastic bags, and are those who are feeling that they are actually affected and they are actually crying that if there's a reverse over the same, that they can be allowed, especially the Mama Mbogas who will say that they are actually suffering with the effect of the removal of these plastic bags. Back to you, Mark.
It's very good and honest, candid feedback there from the traders who are at the border point in Malaba. And as has been pointed out by some, they welcome it in terms of a cleaner environment and, you know, what they see around them. It's cleaner, you know, in dealing with fruits. It's basically better in terms of the aesthetics. But then to the practical aspect of it, and I think you mentioned it there earlier, Kamau, that you know, there's unfair competition in a way, especially for the border communities. You've heard the lady say, I just have to use plastic bags, and you can't hold it against them because their counterparts have an upper hand in terms of business. How do you react to this?
Yeah, maybe just to brief you, since the ban came into effect, we approximate that about 5 billion has been pumped by manufacturers in some of the alternative packaging. And it's a substantial investment that has been made, at least to provide an alternative to the packaging. But you find that this investment is facing that unfair competition from these illicit products that are coming to the country. Okay. So it's not a level playing field.
All right. Yeah. And in your view, would you mistake them? She's talking, this is a Mama Mboga, some of them, you know, trade in fruits and what have you, fresh fruits. And what alternative do you have for them in terms of packaging? When they say it's better to package my pineapple in, you know, the plastic bags, keeps it fresh, as opposed to these other alternative packaging. What do you have to say to that trader on the ground?
Mark, I think, to be fair, the lady has talked about issues of health.
Yes.
So this is not just about the cost of the plastic itself, but the way the food is handled. And she said something that they haven't been doing before. I have to wash my hands, I have to do this. It's a very simple thing in my opinion. We have seen innovation with regard to the fruit industry where Mama Mbogas are cutting pieces of that and offering people a fork to come and pick from the plastic bucket that they are putting it, or plates or whatever. It is the same thing with the people who eat getheri over lunchtime, say laborers or people of low income. We now see they are providing cutlery as well as plates. So the issue of people, you don't have to have the convenience. It's unhealthy to pick a fruit and go eating along the way as it is gathering dust. It's even better and more healthier to stop there, use a fork, take a piece, eat it, and go your way.
Okay.
That is how catering is supposed to be. So the issues of health, and it's a journey we are going through. Remember, we said we give ourselves like 24 months. So alternatives, Kenyans are innovative. Alternatives are there. Those who have adopted, for example, what I've talked about, have adopted. Those who look the other way and see that the ones breaking the law have a competitive advantage, and I agree, it's just a matter of time. Once we walk a few other steps towards the completion of the journey, this will even out.
Okay, you've spoken about the competition, an aspect that is definitely, you know, at your docket in terms of encouraging other nations. They talk about unfair competition just across the border, a few meters away. You can't hold it against them for still using plastic, you know, packaging, plastic bag packaging in their business, in their day-to-day business, if their counterparts are using the same and kind of have better margins.
Thank you, Mark. Again, just to elaborate on what the Professor Wahungu just said, we should not just look at plastic packaging as a standalone issues. It's an entry point of a lot of other major issues that may have more defeated consequences for human health. So I think that, of course, we cannot neglect the fact that unfair competition at the very beginning, especially in such a community market, is there. But it's also the responsibility, and I'm sure that all the different ministers around the countries, around Kenya, have started that conversation. How can we ensure that this ban of plastics would not only be something that would be implemented in Kenya? If Kenya is alone in Comesa region to continue the ban, of course, that the impact regionally would not be significant. And the head of UN Environment, Mr. Solheim, has recently met with the CS for East African Community. And the discussion also focused on how to also encourage other countries around within this region to also embrace the ban. And you are probably well aware, and we are all aware now, that that the East African Community they are about to issue to make this ban also become compulsory for all the East African community.
So is it a mandatory thing, or is it just encouraging the other countries within the region, within the EAC, to implement it? Because what powers do you have to impose that?
Unfortunately, Mark, let me just be frank with you.
Yes.
UN Environment do not have, I mean, it's not our mandate to impose.
Yes.
But what UN Environment has as a mandate, which is a mandate, in fact, that member state, that countries, Kenya being part of it, Uganda be part of a UN assembly, they give us is, first of all, to generate data. To generate data so that all the decision makers, they know what are the consequences of continuing using the plastic bags. And at the same time, they have in the balance the advantages of phasing out this type of material, which definitely is not necessary in most of the cases. There are a few cases where the use of plastic indeed, for medical uses, for example, are indeed necessary. But in most of the cases, when it comes to packaging, when it comes to single use, to fork, etc., it has been demonstrated that these has not been something sustainable. And what UN Environment has been doing was to avail those data to different member states, and especially within the community. And here was the case in Kenya, and Kenya really seized this opportunity and say, this is the momentum for us to really move on this agenda. And UN Environment is continuing through the different awareness raising campaign that we are doing, the Clean Seas campaign, for example. And this is where, as your colleague, the journalist, mentioned at the beginning, this is where we have been able to generate this data, which tell us that if nothing is done from now on, by 2050, we will have more plastic bags in the ocean than fishes. Now, if you just tell yourself, okay, in few years' time, I mean, 2050 is just soon, it's less than a generation. So if you, myself, Mark, we here around this table, we just say, okay, we have had the pleasure of enjoying the taste of fish, different type of fish, variety of fish. When you go to a restaurant in Kilifi, Mombasa, where you have been spending your days cleaning the beaches, and at the end of the day, you sit at the table in the restaurant enjoying this fish, you just say, if there is something to do, definitely is to foster the ban of plastic.
Okay.
It comes with its own challenges, but Kenya has a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Kenya has a lot of, lot of competence. Kenya have this genuine brain that most of countries in Africa, unfortunately, they are still lacking. And we think that the leadership that Kenya has been has undertaken on this has really to be fostered, has really to be encouraged, and has to be pushed. And this is what we are now encouraging other countries to really also embrace the change. So we look forward,
yes,
not only to continue to work with Kenya to see this ban be enforced, but to have people like Professor Wakungu being a leader, being our champions. And you well know that UN Environment, for example, we are thinking of using prominent people in Kenya, the CS Tobiko, for example, and to use them as a champion in other part of the world for them to come and talk with other leaders and encourage them to also embrace the changes.
Okay.
We will probably start with Uganda. We start with other neighboring countries, and we really look forward to also have media or to embrace this. Awareness raising is a major component. Okay. So we look forward, to continue this type of engagement.
All the best as you engage with Museveni. But in terms of, encouraging the other regions, I'd want to get your view, Professor, on how you have engaged your counterparts in Uganda and in the other countries. But from the manufacturing sector and your counterparts, across the borders within the region, there is that aspect of the competition or the edge they probably have. What are you able to do from your desk as, the manufacturing officer, within the Kenya Association of Manufacturers? What are you able to do to reach out to the Ugandans, perhaps? Let's use that as an example.
Yeah. One of the things that we started doing after the ban was engaging with the relevant authorities, including NEMA. And one of the approaches that we had was to have an exemption leeway for industrial packaging. And that was granted, and at least the manufacturers can be able to package their products that are using primary industrial packaging right now smoothly. In consequent engagements, we've been able to extend the time period for the use of this industrial packaging. Upon application, manufacturer can be able to use the exemption certificate provided for a period of 3 years. And for the manufacturers that actually make the plastic packaging, they can have the exemption for 2 years. So that is one of the initiatives that we've used to ensure that at least the primary industrial packaging element of it is not affected adversely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, that hasn't been talked about a lot because it seems to have been, total ban. But then there seems to be some extension of grace period or phasing out of this for the manufacturers from NEMA. So they have really accommodated you in this period.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about the losses in a bit. Have you reached out to your counterparts within the region? Is it something that you are actively doing or will be doing? What approach are you taking?
Yes, Mark. We have, first of all, I want to clarify that the East African community already passed a law or a legislation. It's called the Plastics Products Control and Management Bill that was passed a bit ahead of our ban.
Okay.
So what is remaining is for these countries like Uganda and Tanzania to actually impose or take it up and enforce the ban. So there is already a framework law that has or is compelling the East African region to actually embrace the plastic ban. Okay. But the implementation by countries is what is lacking.
Yes.
We have a network of all the Director Generals and Directors of Compliance and Enforcement in East Africa, and we meet once a year. It's called INES. Kenya, we are usually the host and sponsors of this because we have a lot of interest in making our regulations. Our regulation, EMCA, the Environment Management Coordination Act, is the strongest and the framework upon which we others benchmark. Never mind that some of them have gone ahead of us, like Rwanda, to do this implementation. So we talk on a very frequent basis with particularly myself and the Director General of NEMA Uganda. We talk frequently because, of course, especially the time that this expose came about the movement of plastics from Uganda to Kenya, we talk often. Of course, there are issues of denials here and there, but we are going to meet very soon and put this position straight. Each of the countries the countries faces difficulties depending on their domestic circumstances. Last week, Mark, we had a very important meeting, the Nairobi Convention in Mombasa, where our Cabinet Secretary has now become the chairman of the Western Indian Ocean regions. All countries from Somalia to South Africa that abut the Indian Ocean or bordering the Indian Ocean from the Nairobi Convention. And among the topics that we have taken over for moving with is ocean plastics. Microbeads, all plastics that find their way into the ocean. Each country is supposed to show goodwill and its contribution towards reduction of the net load of plastics into the ocean. Kenya, being the best example so far with regard to taking action on this issue, is going to be a leading example, and going forward, as Dr. Cyril says, is going to provide the benchmark upon which other countries can work with to see that a bold action like this can actually help save the planet, or at least lead to a significant contribution towards achieving that objective.
Okay.
So therefore, despite, as Abol says, we have had to forego a lot of good things and conveniences with regard to the ban. Their economic losses, I'm actually relieved to hear that it is actually 15,000 jobs, not 60,000, that have been lost, and look forward that in 2 years' time, when we completely embrace alternatives, we will surpass with job creation. I'm sure we'll go back to over the 60,000 that initially had been proposed as loss.
We'll
so
see
we'll
if that
recover.
can be reality on the ground.
Yeah, and I think...
before I take a quick break, Dr. Cyril, in terms of, is there any incentive in the support that you give countries that take this bold step? And then, as other countries observe, they'd be encouraged to actually take it up. Is there any incentive or support from the UN?
Thank you very much, Mark. The very first incentive that we can, if we talk about incentives, let us not look at incentive as maybe you do this and then I give this to you. But let us look at incentive
or
as
support. Yeah,
as a major compensation that, for example, a countries or member state embracing this type of change can access. The first of all, UN Environment is working with countries to help them, for example, access some of these global environment facility fund to beat plastic. Don't forget that plastic bags is a component of the global pictures of pollution.
Yes.
And the pollution affects everybody. Can you just for our editors, pollution kills per year 7 million people. Indoor pollution, just indoor pollution. Meaning you stay in your house and there is nothing you do, and then you are a potential victims of pollution. And then UN Environment, to answer your questions, work together with countries to identify possible enabling activity to help them to phase out pollutions. And all our team across programs, we assist countries to develop project proposal to access those funding. Those funding could be from $2 million US up to 15 million, even plus. We also work with development partners. Before plastic bans being effective in Kenya, we have organized a first ever stakeholders meeting in Kenya, which brought together in Nairobi people from Rwanda, people from Morocco, and also people from Uganda to also network and share their experiences. This is also what UN Environment provides. We provide platform where countries can meet together, when stakeholders can meet and exchange experiences, listen, learn. But moving forward, in November, in less than 3 months, we will be having in Kenya the Blue Economy Conference. Not to elaborate more on Blue Economy Conference, but one of the entry points, or one of the docket that UN Environment is in charge, is responsible for, is to bring countries to look at how does the pollution affect our marine ecosystem. If you protect your marine ecosystem, Mark, you're saving a lot of jobs.
Yes.
You're saving a lot of habitat, not only for the future generation, which is to come, but even for now. So all the incentives, we cannot monetize all incentives, but we can put both in the balance and through data demonstrate to countries that by embracing this type of shift, you are doing best and you're gaining more in terms of saving people that could have been affected.
It's actually for
by the
your
pollution,
good and
etc.
for the your country.
And this is what your environment have mandate to do. And we are doing it fully. We are doing it with private sector. We are doing it with women. We are doing it with youth. We have a lot of youth associations organized across Kenya that we are trying to mobilize. We have been mobilizing them throughout a year. We are doing it with the Council of Governors. We are doing it with the county first ladies. And now we look forward now to really embrace this in a very holistic way, bringing on the table the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. And even before arriving here this morning, I was having a meeting with CAM to see how now we can have an integrated approach towards phasing out pollutions, but not only to work on plastic, but to look at the pollution in a broad angle. But we are very happy that, again, that Kenya is really holding this leadership, and I'm very happy to listen to my friend Professor Hungu saying that within the community, they will keep the momentum very high.
Dr. Cyril, I hope that meeting wasn't to get Abel to tone it down and not be aggressive in the interview. We'll take a quick break. Dr. Cyril, Professor Hungu, and Abel Kamau, and we'll be back with this conversation and also hopefully engage the day-to-day people from Eldoret who are joining Lois Wangoi there. Stay with NTV Today. Welcome back to NTV Today. And being a Wednesday, we normally give it a business-centric kind of approach. And it's broken news, not even breaking news, it's broken news that fuel prices have gone up. And the effects are being felt with different, actually, day-to-day people and different stakeholders in that industry. And yesterday, Zainab Ismail was talking to those in charge of the transportation of fuel, the truckers basically. And the position yesterday was that they would not allow any trucks to leave with fuel because they had their reservations in terms of the added cost on their day-to-day business. I wonder if the position has changed. So let's get the word from the ground and representatives of the transporters in industrial area.
All right, thank you so much, Mark. Indeed, it is a third day since the protests against the 16% VAT on fuel products. We understand that Kenyans might be facing, or rather grappling with, the increased fuel prices for quite some time as they wait for President Uhuru Kenyatta to jet back into the country from China to assent to that bill that will suspend the VAT for another 2 years. It is a debate that has caused uproar across the country. According to a spot check, a number of petrol stations have depleted their stock, or rather are almost depleting their stock. We've seen a number of vehicles just getting a mad rush to the petrol stations just to get their fuel. Now here at the industrial area depot, where we understand that since yesterday, the Kenya Independent Petroleum Dealers Association have been on a strike, blocking any petrol products to be transported from here to any other place. We also understand that is happening at the Konza Depot. And we also understand that the PSO for the Department of Petroleum will be coming in to speak to the stakeholders who are involved here, and just to speak to the representative of the truck fuel drivers who've been here and for the third day now, just to give us a glimpse of exactly what the situation is. Just give us your name and exactly what we expect today, as we understand that the PS is coming.
Kwa majina naitwa Francis Warugongo, aka wa Mudhoni. Mimi ndio nasimamia madereva wa mafuta hapa Nairobi, tuseme nchi nzima, lakini niko ada long distance drivers. Sisi leo tuna expect PS wa petroleum Andrew Kamau anaweza kuja tukae chini, lakini sioni vile tunaweza enda through kama yeye atasaini hiyo VAT. Lakini hata VAT ikisainiwa, kuna mambo mingi sana inatukumba sisi madereva na wenye magari.
And apart from hizo challenges ambazo mnapitia kama madereva, tuna understand that mnasema mpaka wa leo bado hakuna magari za petroli zitatoa mafuta kutoka hapa kupeleka kwingine, na tumeona pia petrol stations zimeanza kupoteza mafuta zimeisha. Sasa itakuwaje mkiweza kupata suluhisho kuhusiana na hii jambo pamoja na huyo PS? Tunaweza kupata petroli kuendelea?
Suluhisho ikipatikana, hata kama inaweza patikana saa hii, nafikiri hata nyinyi kuenda mtaenda. Sisi tunabiaga madereva wetu watoke tuendelee na kujenga nchi. Lakini kwa saa hii tunashikilia hivi juu tunajua mwananchi wa kawaida ule akona huko, wazazi wetu, watoto wetu, watu wengi sana wanaumia. Sasa hii hata ukiona fare, watu wengi ni kuongea waongea. Maisha imekuwa ngumu. Kama mahali ulikuwa unalipa 8, sasa hivi unalipa 120. Na hata salary ile unapewa haijaongezewa. So hata serikali ingeweka hii VAT na iseme kila mtu ni lazima waongeze kitu, hata kama ni deni wako na, tunajua wako Kenya iko na hiyo deni wanalipishwa, lakini ungekuwa na, kama sisi hakuna kitu wametuelezea sisi. Kama mimi niseme pande ya madereva wangu, dereva saa hii madam anaweka gari, kusema unaitwa nani? Dereva anawekewa gari mafuta kidogo sana. Kwa nini asiweke free wheel gear ndio gari ifike mahali inafika? So mambo zingine mnazileta hata zinaweza cause accident. So sisi tunasema hivi, wacha Wakenya kwanza nao waone pande yetu. Sisi watu wa mafuta tumeshika doria tuwatetee sisi juu watu wa matatu walishindwa, hao watu wengine walishindwa unajua, lakini sisi tunashirikiana anga kitu moja. Tukasema hata tu save Wakenya juu punda wanasema punda amelala, hata sio kuchoka, amelala. So tungetaka kitu ya kwanza, hata PS akikuja tungetaka adamane na mpaka Deputy President ndio yako huku, kuja tukae chini na wao. Tuko na mambo mingi sana ya kuelezea, ile sisi tunapitia madereva na wenye magari, na tukiaje hata transporters kama Seabed, Dikus, by Yusuf, multiple, they can join us. Hata wao wana benefits. Kuna mahali hata wao wanaumia baada ya transport. Juu hata ERC hakuna siku inafikiria hao watu wako hii area. Hata ukiangalia mahali tunakaa, hii area ina create pesa mingi sana, lakini hakuna mtu hata mmoja ameshitushughulikia. So sioni tukirejea kazi, lakini PS akikuja tukae na yeye chini, vile ametumwa tumsikiza, sisi hatuna ziada, tunarudi kazi na wewe.
Sawa sawa, asante sana Francis Warugongo hapo akiwakilisha, or rather just representing the fuel truck drivers, the long distance fuel truck drivers here. This are just behind me, the drivers who have stopped or that have blocked any kind of activities happening at the depot. You can see they're saying Punda amechoka, asking the ERC to factor transporters' margins and the drivers' salary, saying the VAT will kill Siku and Jiku. And obviously some of the issues that are raising is in regards to that 16% VAT that has been introduced on the petroleum products. Mark will be bringing you all details in regards to that. We understand that petroleum PS on the state of Department Petroleum, Andrew Kamau, will be coming in to have a meeting with the stakeholders here, and we'll tell you what will happen in regards to that.
Well, Zainab Ismail, thank you for that. And there are indications that the message that the PS will be bringing those transporters at the industrial area point or depot is not going to be quite friendly, as he has already pronounced himself on the matter and said that blocking the roads to the depots is economic sabotage and crime. So they probably should prepare for hardball and a tough message from the PS, Andrew Kamau. But thank you for that. Interesting banners there. Some Punda amechoka, another one Punda amezilai. Interesting. Always interesting to get views from the ground. And yes, now we will be now getting to Lois Wangoi, as we've had the conversation here in studio with Dr. Cyril, Professor Geoffrey Wahungu, as well as Abel Kamau, representing the manufacturing sector. And they've given their view in terms of, from their point of view, what it means to them. But now let's listen to those on the ground on a day-to-day basis with Lois Wangoi.
Many thanks, my colleague Mark Masai. Indeed, an interesting conversation you had there earlier, and we're following that live from here. And we will be also getting into some of that, of course, keeping tabs, taking stock of the 1 year that Kenya has had since the ban of the use of plastic bans. But just before we get into that conversation with my guests here, very quickly I want to take our viewers through the steps that we have had as a country. When did this conversation begin, and where are we right now? So here we can see just where we were as a country before is that the country was more or less in an ISO position, where if you could have taken a walk in our estates, in our counties, then this is pretty much the picture that you could have seen. Too much litter and garbage, definitely an ISO that saw the conversation on how the ban should begin. And one of the many hashtags that we had then here in the country is the hashtag I support plastics ban here in Kenya, and that conversation indeed did materialize when eventually the country moved from the use of plastic bags. Many of you identify with them as carrier bags, and many solutions did come into place, and currently Kenya is among the few countries which enjoy those solutions. And yes, now we can see that is Mwananchi just going about their business of trade, and these are the many carrier bags that you are likely to see in our streets and in our day-to-day activities, economic activities rather, here in the country. So with me in studio is a very interesting group. I had an interest of just talking to small-scale traders, first of all, to understand their experience. The past 1 year, how has it been? We have Madam Cherono. She's a small-scale business person in the business of fruit making or fruit selling and salad making. In that, we have Madam Albert Kibenea, small-scale trader, and of course we'll also be getting a more deeper voice from a stakeholder in matters environment rather, and we have Professor Vincent with us. Very quickly, Prof, we'll start with you. Taking stock of the ban after 1 year, where are we as a country? Are we at a good place? And you as a Kenyan, do you enjoy yourself when you're working here in Eldoret? Has our environment become something more beautiful to look at?
Thank you very much. My name is Vincent Sudoi. I work at the School of Environmental Studies, University of Eldoret. I teach environmental biology. Indeed, waste management is a big issue in our country, especially the solid waste management, because we need to, after using the materials, we have to dispose them. We normally have a principle which says reduce, reuse, so that you don't contaminate the environment, or recycle. In the case of plastics, the carrier bags, they were being used and the disposal was the problem because it polluted the environment and it clogged our water system. The animals ate it and we lost the animals. The environment looked filthy, as you have seen in that caption which was shown, and it was the desire to make sure that this environment is kept clean.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. We'll continue keeping coming back to you. Madam Albert Kibenea, small-scale trader, what has your experience been? Umefurahia hii plastic ban, or do you feel like kuna mahali inakufinya as mwananchi wa kawaida?
Mimi, Albertine Kenei, nimefurahia sana walipochange plastic bags, but we have some challenges also. When we sell our goods to our customers, maybe somebody have buy things worth 200 shillings. At the end of the day, she needs a bag, and when you ask her, come with your bag, she said, let me just go to another place. So we end up losing our profit. Also, in some cases,
okay, as you tackle on that point, Sharon Otieno, you are a fruit vendor. Indeed, you came with your product here. Explain to us very briefly the challenge that you've been having when you're trying to retail your fruit salad to Kenyans, and what feedback are you getting anytime they ask you about carrier bags?
Thank you, Madam Lois. My name is Sharon Otieno. Of course, change is inevitable, and when the plastic ban came, we had to take up. So as a sales lady, I face the challenge of maybe customer comes, she tells me I need to take these fruits, 10 of them, and I need the packaging. So the burden of packaging comes to me because the customer says he only pays for the fruits, then I take care of the packaging carrier bags. So that is the main challenge we are facing. So
they refuse to pay for the carrier bags?
Yes, they don't pay. Yeah.
What do they tell you exactly? That should be your cost of operations?
They say the cost is mine, so they have already bought the fruits, so it is me to take care of the carriers.
I want to imagine that it's into your profit. Assuming you sell these at 50 shillings. Previously, before the ban, what amount of profit would you make from such? And right now, how much are you pocketing from the same?
Previously, I used to make a profit of 50%. 50 shillings, Kenyan shillings, but at the moment, because I have to buy a carrier bag worth 20 shillings, so I'm getting a profit of 30 shillings less 20.
Okay. Madam Albertine, of course, Sharon has explained that she used to make 50 shillings, but now she has to part away with a profit of just 30 shillings. In your experience, are you also losing money in your business? And if you could explain to us or illustrate to us how?
Yeah. I'm losing a lot because nowadays there is no wastage of papers. When you sometimes back when we were using the polythene bags, I used to tell some small kids, go and collect for me some paper bags in your home, then I will buy you a lollipop or I'll give you 5 bob. So at the end of the day, I lose nothing because I have a lot and I put it with nothing. But nowadays, when I just ask them, go and bring for me, they say no. Our mom are washing the paper bags, they hang and they reuse it again. So I'm losing a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your suppliers, the kids, they are not supplying anymore.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, Prof, you have had the challenges that our small-scale traders, even as they continue to appreciate the ban, they are explaining that they have a bit of challenges, and in particular, the manner in which the ban was effected, it is eating into their profits. How can small-scale traders survive the same, or how can Kenyans ensure that they're able to chip in that extra 10, 20 shillings, of course, with a very categorical or view of Wanjiko, who really struggles to even get that 20 shilling coin?
Thank you very much. I know earlier on people used to make money out of recycling plastic. That means I could see some people go and collect, they clean them up and come and resell again. And that meant money for them. But still there are opportunities outside this arrangement. For example, we have seen people have become innovative. They have actually carrier bags, which are not plastic. Our interest is to produce carrier bags that are organic, that you can actually degrade in the environment. Normally the plastic bags, the carrier bags that we have banned, stay for over 1,000 years in the environment.
Right.
And it is very difficult to degrade them. Therefore, it is good to have the new carrier bags which are degradable and they can be reused also. And right now, even if we look at the people who are selling those new carrier bags, they are making money. And even the traders who are going, like the supermarkets, they sell it at 20 to 50 shillings.
Yes, yes.
That is their money.
Okay.
Earlier on, they were giving out for free. Yes.
Okay. Madam Albert, you're explaining to us there are some products which you sell, for instance, chips mito, and even the packaging that you have now, it is seemingly not working for your business. Talk to us about that. Do you feel the government has provided enough solutions, or good solutions, following the plastic ban?
I think in the other side, the government has not made for us some solution, because the envelopes we use to pack chips, we put tomato sauce. When somebody just walk out, the chips start falling because it has become wet. So I wish they could improvise something that is at least can carry. Yeah.
So the chips mito is not selling as much as you used to sell?
Yeah.
How much were you selling previously before the ban, and how is the business doing now?
You know, the other time we used to buy at 40 shillings very many paper bags, but now 40 shillings for about 10. So we are losing. Yeah.
Okay. And Sharon, how are you surviving the times? You have just told us you're losing at around 20 Kenyan shillings at every sale you make for your fruit salad. How are you surviving as a young person who's trying to secure their living through entrepreneurship?
Okay, thank you. I advise my customers to really carry their carrier bags with them, so that if they get something to carry, they produce their carrier bags with them, so that they can minimize the cost of buying others. Yeah.
Do you feel the move was a bit too fast?
Yeah, it was too fast because at first I thought it was a joke, but later I realized that people are serious. Sometimes I remember sometimes back, people when they go to a matatu, they go with a paper bag, so that when they form it, they use the paper bag. So I was wondering, what are people using nowadays? Because if they use the envelopes,
it becomes messy.
Yeah. The business matatu men are having a hard time
cleaning,
Yeah.
Prof, that gets us to a very interesting solution. So do you have a very interesting part as we wind up? Very briefly, Prof, do you have enough solutions? As Madam Kibene notes, there are people who get nauseated when they're using public service transport. What do they use?
Well, there are many solutions for to replace the carrier bags, the plastic bags, and Kenyans have to be innovative. I know in our environment we have second-hand clothes, some plastic, not plastic, some materials that are waterproof, and yet they are there in the market. I want to encourage them to go and innovate and make carrier bags out of this, and it will replace the plastics.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you very much, Prof. Interesting conversation and observations that we have had here. And from here, we cross over to my colleague in the county of Migori to continue with more on the conversation.
I just have to give some good responses. I mean, we've gotten there. We were laughing in studios. We were following the real candid feedback that's been given there by, I think it was Kibiene, who said she first thought it was a joke, and kumbe, people were serious. And yes, even Professor Vincent Sugoi and Sharon Otieno with their day-to-day struggles on this implementation, something that we'll get a response from with the panel here. But let's get more responses. Bernardo Juang is in Migori and now shares.
Well, thank you very much, Trevor. We are here in Rongo town, where the university student, Rongo University student, currently demonstrating following the death of one of their students. They are saying that they are saying that they want those who are involved in the abduction of Sharon, and ended up killing him. Remember, Sharon was abducted and killed last 2 days ago after they were in a company with one of our reporter, Barack Oduor, working with the Nation newspaper. And currently we are just joined by one of the students just to tell us why are they demonstrating, and they tell us what do they want. Start with your name.
I'm called Handa Fred. I hope I want to be very categorical, and clarity must be felt. Because first of all, this thing that has happened in this school, it is not only for the first time. It happened in KCA University on May, and now it is in Rongo. I'm only asking upon the government, not only the government itself, but the government to take proper channel initiative to ensure that the person who is behind this catastrophe, this mayhem, these exocannibalism issues that has took place, to be brought to book, regardless of the position, regardless of who is that person, because the lady has lost the life and the life want to be brought back. Vaccination. That is what we are praying, and we will demonstrate, even if it will make students be expelled from the school.
You are saying that this is not the first one. What do you mean?
There was a student who was killed by police in KCA.
Apologies on 2 counts for losing that sound, as well as the misconception that the conversation was going on the ban. But these are reactions coming in about Sharon Otieno, who was found dead earlier this morning. She was kidnapped Monday evening alongside Nation journalist Barack Oduor, and as we were told earlier by Oko Kusa, the update being that they were following up on a story that involved people within the Migori County leadership, and they were summoned, or actually were to meet the PA of Migori Governor Okoth Obado, that is Michael Oyamo, who is in custody and being questioned. And it is said that actually it was quite strange that they had to change locations and venues of the meeting, and later on be kidnapped. And then you see what's happened now. Sharon Otieno has been found dead. She was 7 months pregnant, 26-year-old, a student there at the Medical Records and Information School at, she was pursuing a degree on Medical Records and Information at Rongo University. Some of the students in Migori protesting that, and this is a story that we'll keep following up And just before that, before we got to that, we were listening to candid feedback from Eldoret and the small-scale traders, as well as, you know, someone in the sector of science, Professor Vincent Sugoi. I saw you writing down. Let me start with you, Abel Kamau. These are small-scale traders, and yes, you represent the manufacturers, but with what they're saying, what can we now improve in the implementation moving forward?
Thank you, Mark. I think from the conversation from Eldoret, we saw that one of the traders was citing that she's losing about 40% of her previous profits to packaging. So this is an illustration of the impact that packaging has on any business activity. And it's sad that this packaging that we're using right now, about 80% of it is imported into the country. So the balance of payments that we really have a deficit on, they are slowly increasing. If you look at the convenience of the packaging that was highlighted by one of the interviewers there, yes, who was talking about chips muitu, about the fruits, I think you can get the element of healthy packaging. If you look at what is currently being used right now, the nonwovens, they disintegrate upon any abrasive encounter. Yes. So meaning that if they have a direct encounter with a food product, we tend to consume plastic instead of having an alternative packaging, because ideally what happened, the alternative that was provided on the plastic bag was a plastic in itself in the nonwoven bags. Okay. Yeah, going forward, I think we need to create policies that are more inclusive. We take all the stakeholders on board, and when we do something, we do it right, so as to have a win-win situation for all of them. Exactly. Yeah.
But in the long run, as you conclude, because we need to conclude the conversation, in the long run, is there more profit or loss for the manufacturing sector?
Yeah, in the long run, if the situation continues as it is right now, it's a loose situation for the manufacturers. Okay. But with the conversations we've been having with the stakeholders involved, at least we are having more candid conversations also behind the scenes between the private and public stakeholders, and we are getting into a situation where all of them agree to the point of having a cyclic economy. Yes. And in such a situation, we'll be able to achieve a win-win situation, both for the environment, for the economy, and for the social development of the country.
All right. Yeah. Professor Ohungu, from what you heard, quick responses, and then you could elaborate whether there's something else coming up, that is bottles, plastic bottles.
Thank you, Mark. I want to comment and say that what Professor Sudoi said is correct. It is Kenyans who have to be innovative. And I want to challenge Abo that the Kenya Association of Manufacturers have to provide the solutions for packaging, not the government. But the government will promote packaging, which is a good alternative. Okay. Having said that, for Albertine and Sharon, I want to encourage them, because Albertine was saying they will leave her wares and her fruit and go to some other place. In 2 years' time, when that other place is not providing polythene, then we are going to have a solution to this. But also encourage them that this is about tomorrow, not today. Okay. The cost to the manufacturer now and the cost to the vendor is much lower compared to the cost of environmental health. You can package food very well today so that you don't get food poisoning or whatever, and still die tomorrow from the environmental pollution, because you'll find that plastic in much heavier dose elsewhere in the environment. So we have to look at the long term, and that is why I'm saying in the long term, both for manufacturers, if they adopt the packaging technology and the alternatives, which are even more profitable than polythenes, which are imported cheaper, they don't use even the local material, which means that they are imported and don't even benefit the local economy. Yes. Overall, we see profit rather than cost. Having said that, I want to talk about, I want to thank Kenyans.
Real quick, yes.
Kenyans, because of what they've done. Yes. This is for them. We got proud. Our president, His Excellency the President, was given a standing ovation in the World Economic Forum in UNEA that we hosted here for the bold step Kenyans took. We are urging county governments to actually create infrastructure for waste management now, so that we can see the fruits of the plastic ban.
Which is what I want to throw to Dr. Cyril, but are the bottles next? Plastic bottles?
The Cabinet Secretary has provided a framework and an infrastructure. He's brought together the Kenya Association of Manufacturers and other stakeholders to control this problem. He's looking at the results, the initial results, and the willingness of all participants to solve the problem. He has pronounced himself very clearly on this and all the options that are open to him. Okay. And we leave that to him to decide.
All right. He's brought up something that I'd want you, and as you respond in conclusion, there's a lot of focus on phasing out the plastics within the circulation or clearing them out. But then there's the issue for a long-lasting solution, recycling. He's talked about waste management at the county level. What are you doing to encourage, or what can you do to support the country and counties in this?
Thank you very much, Mark. Environment being a devolved function in Kenya, which is this level very important and something very positive.
Yes.
Because one of the challenges that comes to us when we deal with countries is that where the problem is, sometimes the solution is not so close. Now, it's a privilege that we have in Kenya to work with governors. And the Council of Governors has been extremely very open, and the conversation is still on, and we really look forward to continue this conversation, and hopefully to have more actors around so that we can reach out to a platform where all the stakeholders can really be around governors to really help them addressing the issues. So this is the first point. The second point is, phasing out plastic bags is also opportunity.
Yes.
We all know how dynamic is a Kenya economy and the Kenya private sectors in terms of being an asset for the economy. If you really look at how creative you have been seeing the ban of these single-use plastic bags, it's amazing. You have a lot of alternatives in the market, which we didn't have before. And what we also have to mention here is that Kenya, at its root, has part of the solution. Kenya produces sisal. And the sisal Kenya is used to produce, most of it is being shipped to another countries. So it's also another opportunity now, maybe, to generate a new sector, a new niche of employment. Recently, when we were organizing the build-up activity to the World Environment Day, we were approached by the King of Plastics. And King of Plastic come to us and say, we want you to support us to produce alternatives. We have all those papers. We brought up, we import in Kenya a 2 billion equipment to produce alternatives.
Yes.
And this will lead us immediately to employ more than 100,000 youth. So plastic indeed, to enforce the ban, everything at the beginning, the conception is always been painful. But if you look at midterm and long term, I am sure that all the actors and stakeholders now agree that there was a good shift.
All right. Let
now,
me stop you.
We as EU Environment, we encourage the government to continue to provide a platform for the Kenya Association of Manufacturers to continue this conversation with the National Environment Management Authority to look at the best fit, to look at the best solution for Kenya. And we are sure that where Kenya is now, you can only fly more highs. And we look forward again to bring other countries here to learn from all the exciting experience that Kenya have gone through.
All right. Professor Ohungu, just hand me that, because it's been an episode of many banners being held up. We've seen it in the different live locations. Thank you for that. He says the Clean Up the World Day is on the 15th of this month in Mombasa. He'll definitely be there, and we'll see how we can partner that with you to bring this to the attention of Kenyans. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time. Sorry to rush it at the tail end, but we've had a good conversation, and even from the ground, getting the day-to-day candid responses. Dr. Cyril Siewe from the UN Environment, the coordinator of the program within the country. Thank you so much. Professor Geoffrey Wahungu, your work is cut out for you as you continue implementing this and looking forward. The Director General at NEMA, and Abel Kamau for representing the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. Keep doing that as they look at implementing other bans. Indeed, in the interest of the manufacturers and the Kenyans in the long run. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time, and have yourself a good afternoon. We'll cross over to Parliament, where the ERC and Kenya Power are before the parliamentarians there to talk about actually one of the main concerns is explaining the high power bills. Let's cross over there.
We are in a regime where we are getting the correct meter readings and billing immediately, and we've seen a lot of those complaints reducing. But we are still opening up ourselves and saying that should you still be having any query on your billing, we can be able to look at it.
And are you still having those private people? I don't know whether they were selling tokens or what they were doing in your place. There were about 5 farms. Are they still operational?
No, currently we have only one, but what we've done is that we've now provided a number which is purely straight to Safaricom, 88880 for prepaid customers and 88888 for postpaid customers. This one doesn't have to go through a vendor. When you procure any tokens or you pay through us, it goes directly to Safaricom. And I think you can bear me witness that now we are efficient such that if you are paying on this new channel, you actually get your tokens faster than the Safaricom response.
Could you do something? Can you do more advertisement on those numbers for customers to see it? But you said you are left with only one gentleman or one company for this token business.
The one it's called PDS, which we had a contract with.
Yes.
But what we've done now is that we are getting him from the token business, so that his exclusive work is just to get what we call third service vending systems, where if you want to pay any other thing which is not related to token purchase, then we can be able to, as we get him off our contract.
The last time you people came here, we raised the issues as to why Kenya Power had found it necessary to engage outsiders when we are in this new business of, with all the electronic systems. You could one of us, I remember raising that you could use Safaricom, for example, to get your thing. Now, you are telling us you have this particular agent, because that was also a source of confusion. Are you intending to keep him, or you are intending to also face him off?
No, we're actually phasing him off after the contract expires.
Which expires when?
When is it supposed to? They'll vend it.
Yeah?
Next year, early next year.
March next year.
March next year.
March next year. Yes. Or call him and tell him you have done good business. Let's terminate.
But the good thing the good thing about it is that after customers. Okay, the good thing about it is that. Mr. Chairman, the good thing about it is that after customers were now able to get the efficient system, about 90% of our customers now are vending through these two numbers.
Okay, but we are terminating him.
We will.
As we agree.
Okay, when
on that question, I have. Now, have you legally terminated the others? Is that what you are telling us?
Yeah, the other ones, they are now not vending with us.
Okay. Yes. Their contracts are...
Yeah. We are terminating them as and when.
So, I just want to understand that, so that next time we are together.
Now, when IMD, because we are aware that you have several issues pending in court to be addressed by Kenya Power. If you try to put systems in place to address issues of illegal connections, we know that there are quite a number of illegal connections that may even be denying the company huge revenue, and again issues of faulty transformers. We are aware that there are quite a number of faulty transformers that were purchased and they are not working. Maybe they are also costing the company. Quite a number of issues also surrounding issues of estimates, reading of estimates, if you are put in place measures to address all those systems.
Thank you, Chair. The first one was the issue of illegal connections, and I want to tie it to what the regulator said as an incentive for Kenya Power lighting efficiency, where the tariff harmonization had anticipated, instead of using a 20% loss, they had given us a 15% loss factored into the new tariff so that we can be able to push ourselves towards efficiency. what we are doing now is we've realized that we need to move aggressively towards addressing losses, which are commercial losses. And starting from, you've seen us being aggressive starting from last week, where we are going to our prepaid systems, where we are going now to look at each and every meter to ensure that all those meters are able to meter properly. That is one of the initiatives that we are doing. On illegal connection, you've seen a lot of our efforts with the support of administration to go and get people who are illegally connected. You've seen a lot of arrests that we are doing and combing, especially on areas which are very vulnerable towards these losses. And you'll see a lot of this going through so that we can be able to bring down our losses to the levels that the regulator will want us to do. So we are aggressively going to continue with this. There's the issue of faulty transformers. We had a lot of faulty transformers that were out there in the field to the tune of over 300. But over the last 1 month, we've been able to reduce it to as low as less than 40 as I'm speaking to.
By replacing them?
Yeah, by replacing them.
Have you paid for those transformers?
Yes, we had paid for those transformers. And those transformers may not have faulted basically because of faults of the transformer themselves, but the infrastructure that has been brought about by some of these illegal connections, and some of them were vandalized. So you find that a transformer may have been brought in, which is a good transformer, but when it is put up on the pole, people come and vandalize the oil, and the moment there's no insulation in the oil, the transformer fails.
So these stories about 40 transformers that you had bought and paid for are not true?
Faulty transformers, because what we have as a company is that when we buy transformers, we have a robust system which can be able to sample transformers as they come in, so that we can be able to know the transformers that have defects as they come in.
I understand all that, but I'm saying, I think you are privy to what I'm talking about.
But Chairman, to help him, I think because that matter is in court,
that's
with
why
the due respect,
we leave it.
Let's leave it, please.
Yeah.
But possibly,
PS. Yeah, but
okay. But Bwana PS, as much as the case is in court, and we would not want to discuss an issue that is pending before court, but we need to know how will the ministry then pay back these losses. Yes. Are you going to still give back to the customers to pay for you? Because we need to know whether...
It's already there.
Yes, it's 15%. You have mentioned that it's 15% losses?
Actually, Chairman,
how do you intend to get back that money?
What will happen, Chairman, is that whatever they are using in the operational maintenance, that is way and above what is approved, it will reduce the bottom line.
They'll have to absorb it as a
company. We absorb it as a company. So it's upon us then to be a bit more efficient so that we improve on our bottom line.
You only did 1%. You said from 14 point something to 13 point.
15.9 to 14.9. It's really, in terms of energy, it's a big cost.
It's a big cost.
Yes.
Comparatively, in global space, are you within the confines of what the rest of the world is doing?
Actually, at 14 is good.
That's
we
good.
are actually good as developing the growing agri is a good one. It's actually too tight for them, but they have to work.
You really wiggled your way out of it.
Now, if I may, there has been also the issue which was raised in our Senate regarding concrete poles versus wooden poles. And which way are you going as a policy?
What is informing this replacement?
Yes.
Because every other day we are seeing people replacing even new poles, putting in place other ones. So what is informing and what is the cost?
I think that one, Chairman, is not really a policy issue. It's because policy-wise, I would say there are some areas which require concrete poles, particularly areas where there is a lot of ants and the marshy areas. You start to benefit if you use concrete poles because of their lifespan and also they are resistant to water. In fact, concrete even gets better. So in marsh areas, in other areas where there are a lot of ants, then you protect the system by using concrete poles because you have a better life. Secondly, the issue of environment. There has been a lot of concern with regard to afforestation. And I do know that even by the time I was departing from KPOC, we were getting a lot of challenges with regard to obtaining wooden poles because of reduced activities of afforestation in recognition of the need to do environmental protection. So by default, it would mean that KPOC would have to use both concrete and the wooden poles. Of course, the wooden poles are much cheaper at the beginning as you are procuring it, but it has a shorter lifespan. The concrete poles, you would have to pay extra, but the lifespan is much more. I would, however, expect, because we have had several concrete manufacturers of poles come on board. It is not like at the beginning where we could have had only maybe 2 or 3. I think now you must be having about 7 to 10. So there should be good competition, which should really reduce the price. And it should literally leave the cost of production plus a very small margin. And I think that is the bit that KPOC needs to make sure that they involve all those manufacturers to get competition.
Do you foresee a time where you'll be moving underground?
Actually, we should move more underground, especially in urban areas and peri-urban areas. And I do know we have had some projects, like in the CBD, most of the system is underground. We had planned to do quite a bit of Upper Hill, Westlands, Kirimani, all those areas because of the upcoming activities and also because of the density of population. It helps.
ERC representatives and Kenya Power representatives before the Parliamentary Committee there on issues around the cost of power, the escalating cost of power, and other emerging issues from those institutions. And we'll be getting more on that with our reporter who's following this up, hopefully. But Sharon Otieno, that's a bigger story right now. That is the young girl who's found dead earlier this morning, and she was kidnapped alongside Barak Odor, a Nation journalist who represents or covers Homa Bay County. And there's a lot that's going around this story in terms of the ties to it with the leadership of Migori County, and the government says that it is moving swiftly to investigate this. We'll be getting the answers and an update from Oko Kusa, who's following up on this. Meet you at the other side of the hour. Good afternoon. Welcome to a 1 o'clock news update. My name is Mark Masai. We start with the top story at this hour, and that's on the death of the student from Rongo University, 26-year-old Sharon Otieno, who was abducted in Migori alongside Nation journalist Barack Odwor, has been found dead earlier this morning. At the time of her death, Sharon was 7 months pregnant. The second-year student pursuing a degree in medical records and information at Rongo University went missing on Monday evening after being kidnapped by Michael Oyamo, it is alleged, the aide to Migori Governor Okoth Obado. Nation journalist Barack Odwor was also caught up in the ordeal but managed to escape death by whisker after jumping out of the moving vehicle. By Tuesday evening, Oyamo, the PA to Migori County Governor, was in police custody in Migori, awaiting a transfer to Homa Bay for interrogation. I believe this transfer has been made, given our latest update from Okokusos following up on this story. Now, this morning, Sharon's body was found dumped in close to Kodera Forest, after which it was later taken to Oyugis Level 4 Hospital. And the death has elicited various reactions, understandably, with a statement from the government spokesman, Eric Kireide, assuring the public, quotes, this matter will be expeditiously investigated and the perpetrators of this heinous crime will be made to face the full force of the law. So at this moment, we'll get some reactions from the very university that Sharon Otieno studied at, and that is Rongo University. And we have Bernardo Juang ready with the responses there.
Well, thank you very much. We are here in Rongo town where Rongo University students have taken to the streets saying that they are demanding an explanation from those people who are concerned. They are saying, remember, they want one of their students, Sharon Otieno, was abducted on Monday alongside Nation newspaper reporter Barack Odwor, and later, remember, Barack managed to escape from the abductors. And also, Sharon didn't manage to escape, and later she was found dead today in the morning. And now we are just going to talk to some of the university leaders here, just to tell us what are they demanding. Joining me is this lady. You'll start with your name and tell us what's going on here in town.
My name is Leah Kanyangi. I'm a student leader, Secretary Ladies Affairs. And today it's indeed a sad day for the Rongo comrades, because we expect the county government to be the ones giving security to our students. And yet we find a circumstance where our student is insecure in the hand of the county government. So what we need is an explanation as to what happened, what did not go right with Sharon, and why they had to do this to her. All we need is an explanation. Let the county government speak. That is all we need. They need to be responsible, give us the security, and not to harm the students. That is all I could say.
And okay, you are saying that you are demanding. Do you think something will come out of this?
I hope something will come out of this, because I believe that this is a democratic country. And as a democratic country, I expect democracy to happen. And I want justice for Sharon. It is not fair to the family. It is not fair to us as comrades. Because if they've done this to one of us, then what about the rest of us? Exactly.
Okay, I'll talk to another student here. Joining me is this man. Okay, we've seen you going there. You are on the street demonstrating. What are you demanding for?
We are demanding for justice, because as a governor, I don't think what he did was wrong. I mean, was right. What we are demanding is just but justice. Tunataka haki kwa mtoto wetu. Kama kuna wenye wanaweza tusaidia kupata haki, we are demanding for that justice. That is all I can say.
Sasa tumesikiza kwamba hakuna masomo sasa.
Yeah, there is no learning that is going on, because even us, we were in class. Then we heard of that. That thing that happened. We just decided to walk out of class.
Thank you very much. Okay, yeah, Mela, you've just had the students speaking there. They are saying that they are demanding a quick investigation be done so as to bring those people who are involved on record, so as they face the charges. And they are also demanding those people who have been mentioned at least to come out and clear their names out of this. We'll be here till the evening, so as to package to get more information for our subsequent bulletins. Back to you.
Bernardo Juang, thank you very much for that update with the comrades. That is the students that knew Sharon Otieno very well as she studied there, second-year student, I believe, and very unfortunate. She was 7 months pregnant at the time of her death. And the government, as mentioned earlier, has said that they will look into this closely. And this is a statement from the spokesperson, the government spokesperson, Eric Kireide, who says, "Our attention has been drawn to the reported death of Sharon Otieno, a university student at Rongo University, under circumstances that distinctly point to murder. We take this opportunity to express our sincere condolences to the family, relatives and friends of Sharon Otieno." And yes, it ends with saying the government reiterates its dedication to uphold and protect media freedom, because this incident involved our very own Barack Odor, who represents and covers the Homa Bay County and the region. Mel Miendo is now at Parliament buildings to get some reactions from the leaders. I believe one of them is the woman representative from Migori County. Mel?
Mark, this is an issue that everyone here is talking about. We have been here for quite some time, and we've had many people saying that it is wrong, the crime that was committed in Migori against Sharon Otieno and also Barack Odor, who is a Nation journalist. And so now I will be joined by the Migori women representative, Pam Odhiambo, to just give us a brief on what they have been talking about. Pam, asante sana. Thank you for joining us. Tell us, what are your thoughts about what has happened?
Thank you very much. It is a very sad thing. It is a very sad thing what we have been treated to this morning. The death of a young collegian, Sharon Otieno of Rongo University student, who we are told was not just a student, but now she was expectant with a baby, 7-8 months old. 2 lives lost this morning. And what saddens me is that this story is traced back to Migori County and is associated with a very senior, the top senior official of the county, the government official. And this is the worst part of it. If the officials, or if the leaders cannot protect life, then who else can protect life? And that's why we are here as a leader from Migori County, where Rongo University is situated, and a leader of women, not only for Migori County, but the entire Kenya. I think all women and all men have a right to life, and life is sacred. Life must be protected. And the circumstances surrounding the death of Sharon are very painful, because we are told the whole story started with an attempted abduction on Tuesday, which was also including a Nation media staff, yes, Barack Otieno. And somehow Barack Otieno, sensing danger, managed to escape, but with injuries. And so I want to say pole to Nation media and wish Barack quick recovery. And I pray that wherever he is protected and safe, so that this story is not totally extinguished. Meanwhile, yes.
A quick one. You've mentioned about what has happened. It is an issue that escalated from Monday up until today, Wednesday, and it has put the governor right at the center of it, Migori governor. From the county government perspective, what is your opinion?
My opinion is that the allegations actually about this girl, I first saw it about almost 2 or 1 week ago in the social media. There were people posting her picture and saying that the governor has made her pregnant. I thought it was one of the many jokes that sometimes young people do. But then on Tuesday we were told that this girl and the media staff who was struggling to unearth this story were abducted. And then the young man escaped with injuries. I saw his picture lying in hospital, and it was reported that he is at Aga Khan Hospital in Kisumu. Then the whole of yesterday, there was not much going on. People were wondering, where is this Sharon? We were asking, where is the girl? Then this morning we are told the girl's body has been found at Kodera Forest in Homa Bay County. The girl actually hails from Homa Bay County, Rangwe constituency, and she is a university student, second-year student of Rongo University. And as a matter of concern, it was reported that the person in whose company they were is actually the PA of the governor. All these are allegations. Now my take is, and my opinion, let the Criminal Investigation Department quickly move. As I stand here, I'm aware that the government spokesman, Mr. Kireide, has issued a statement promising that everything possible will be done to bring the culprit to book. I want to say I'm hoping that this is will not just be another narrative. It is true, we want to know, because this is shameful, it is painful, it makes all the women, including me, bitter. We are all parents of young girls, we are all parents of young men, and we don't want any of our children to lose their lives in such unnecessary circumstances as the one that we are being treated to today. Kenya must be ashamed if our men in leadership can be associated with this kind of act. So all these allegations, let the investigation go on. And I pray that Migori County will be safe for everyone, especially these journalists. I think we have had rumors of 1 or 2, 3 journalists crying that their lives are in danger because they have reported this and that. I think it is important that we allow all our people to walk freely and do their job. It is the job of the journalists to report whatever they see. So if there is a reason for them not to report it, I don't know why it shouldn't be reported, and they shouldn't be threatened.
All right, a final question. Kodera Forest has been known to be the area that these bodies are dumped. Is there anything that is being done? A very quick one.
That is why we are calling upon the government to move in. You know, there was some time back in Kenya when every day you woke up, there was a body in Ngong Forest, there was a body in Karura Forest. It appears Kodera Forest has become the Karura of South Nyanza or Homa Bay County for that matter. And so the government, I know in every forest, we have government officers charged with the responsibility of taking care of what is happening there. How come these things go unnoticed? Whoever is dumping these bodies, they should be brought to book. Somebody must see them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mark, that's what we have here at Parliament. We've just been speaking to the Migori Women Representative, Pamela Odhiambo, and there's a lot of heated remarks here in Parliament regarding what happened to Sharon Otieno. Back to you, Mark.
Mel Miendo, thank you for that, getting some responses from the women representative in Migori County. And we hope to be getting an update from Oko Kusa. He's following up on this earlier. He said there were indications that the governor, Okoth Obado, had been arrested for questioning, but then that was not verified. But he'll be getting more details from the family of Sharon, the late Sharon Otieno, as well as the authorities investigating this matter. On to another story that shows signs of a cover-up as well. There's a murder or an attempted murder in this story. The Law Society of Kenya Nairobi branch now wants all witnesses involved in the shooting and injuring of former executive member for finance in Garissa, Idris Mukhtar, to be put under witness protection. The lawyers are demanding that all culprits involved in the incident be brought to book. The branch deputy vice chairperson, Paula Njogona, also demanded that security agencies and the office of the DPP provide security to lawyers, citing the latest incident where city lawyer Charles Kanjama received threats to his life.
Due to the sensitive nature of the case and the recent death of a key suspect, David Mwai, who allegedly committed suicide in a police cell, that all witnesses to this case be placed under witness protection during the period in which the proceedings are ongoing. In the event, however unfortunate, that the above are not achieved, the LSK Nairobi branch will seek private prosecution of any individual who may be culpable for the crimes in question.
And we'll be getting responses and reactions to that. To the top story on the murder of Sharon Otieno, DCI boss Kinoti has dispatched a special team of detectives to probe the murder of Sharon Otieno and attempted murder of NMG reporter Barak Odor. We'll be getting more on this story. Still on a crime beat, 3 suspected gangsters were this morning shot dead by police in Kanyagea area of Nyeri County. An AK-47 rifle believed to have been used in the murder of Kamakwa location chief Peter Kimiti in July this year was recovered together with 9 rounds of ammunition. The incident happens after CS Matiang'i ordered a security operation to flush out criminals in Nyeri. Among those killed, according to the police, include a criminal who was involved in the murder of the chief. Milita Oletenges has more.
Kanyagea village residents today woke up to a rather unusual day. 3 gangsters shot dead in what is said to have been their hideout. They were allegedly planning to conduct a crime in Nyeri town today. According to the Central Regional Commissioner Wilson Jenga, the police were informed by members of the public and raided the home where the gang was hiding.
That tip-off we received was that they were planning when they were sleeping in this homestead, they wanted to do a robbery in Nyeri town today. And we are, the links we are getting, we are happy. Information is flowing clearly, unlike in the past, when the public were not talking about criminals.
An AK-47 rifle together with 9 rounds of ammunition was recovered by the police. Locals say they heard screams and shouts from the criminals before a gun battle happened between the suspects and the police.
Mimi nisikia tu buduki, hakuna kitu nisikia, na alafu nikasikia woi. Sasa nikafikiria ni huyu mama, kuna ibu ng'ombe ama abusi. Sasa nikashtuka, mimi nikatoka nje. Alafu nikasikia bado buduki inaendelea. Sasa nikatoka nje, tukaangalia, tukaona matoshi na magari, tukasikia hata mgurumo wa gari, tukakuta alafu askari wakatuambia tusikaribie.
8 suspects have been arrested so far in connection with the murder of Kamakwa Location Chief Peter Kimiti, with more than 10 criminals having been gunned down in Nyeri and its surroundings in the past 2 months. 6 illegal firearms have so far been recovered in the operation to flush out criminals. Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i ordered a crackdown on criminals in the county on August 1st, citing an upsurge in crime in Nyeri.
So we have taken several decisions. Some, of course, I will not divulge here because security issues also have to be treated in a particular way. But some, like stepping up the level of security in Nyeri, begins tonight.
So we will continue. Those who are willing to surrender are free to do so to any police station, because that period of surrender is still on. But those who refuse to surrender and continue holding illegal firearms, they will be dealt with very, very firmly in accordance with the law.
Crime in Nyeri, Kirinyaga, Nyahururu and Naivasha has been linked to idleness and drug abuse among the youth who opt to join gangs to earn a quick and dishonest living. Police maintain they won't relent in ensuring security is restored. Melita Oletenges, NTV, Nyeri.
An unknown number of workers have been arrested at the China Global Television Network, CGTN, previously known as CCTV. That's at the headquarters in Nairobi. The operation that was carried out by plainclothes officers is said to be targeting foreigners who are in the country illegally, especially those without work permits. Unconfirmed reports indicate some of the staff at CGTN could have hinted to the police about the presence of illegal immigrants in the Chinese-owned media house. However, it is said most of the foreigners who are part of the staff could have been informed about the arrests because most of them were away during the arrest that turned into a scuffle between police and the staff members. CGTN has been on the spot lately with allegations of locals being mistreated by their bosses who are foreigners. Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i declared a manhunt and a serious crackdown on illegal immigrants. The operation to arrest foreigners in Kenya without proper documentation has been ongoing for a while. Sources say the arrested have been taken to Kilimani police station with their colleagues trying to secure their release. Meanwhile, 72 students of Caritas Mariana Secondary School in Thika have been forced to stay out of school since the opening date. The students are not able to go back to school after the school was closed down due to allegations of sexual and drug abuse, among others. 10 students out of the 72 are KCSE candidates.
A letter from an anonymous person spelled out the allegation to the Thika West Education Office. The office took up the matter and formed a committee that investigated the matter.
After carrying out the investigation, the officers established that 5 of the allegations were true.
The school that is sponsored by a Catholic church from Nigeria was shut down 2 weeks before the end of second term. Other allegations that appeared in the anonymous letter include extreme religious practices, immoral behavior, and unregistered teachers teaching students.
Wazazi wale wameleta watoto wao hapa, hakuna mzazi hata moja ameleta complaint
ya mtoto wake amefanyiwa mambo mabaya ama shule imefanya kitu baya.
Ronald Mbogo, who took up the matter, promised parents to secure positions for the students, but some have ended up missing that opportunity.
Poenda Holy Rosary, nikaambiwa huko hakuna vacant. Nikaambiwa labda sasa ni mpeleke next year. Saa nikashindwa. Kozi walisema nimpeleke next year, atakaa kwa nyumba baka next year.
The parents and school management have questioned the motive of the education offices in the area on the issue, saying there is more to the allegations.
Historia ya hapa ama yale mambo ambayo yamekuwa yakiendelea hapa ni kuhusu shamba. Wengine ambao si ukweli kabisa, kwa sababu tuko na vyeti vyote. Wanasema kwamba wanamiliki hii sehemu. Na wakati tuko na barua zote na hata kotini tumeenda na tumeshinda.
The parents remain stranded and are now calling on the government to intervene on the matter. Winnie Maganga, NTV.
Sean Carter-Villas now joins me with the sports of the day.
Thank you very much, Mark. A very good afternoon to you all. The national football team head coach Sebastian Minye has urged Kenyans to come out in large numbers to support Harambee Stars as they take on Ghana in a crucial AFCON 2019 qualifier on Saturday. Now, speaking after a training session that saw 24 of the 38 players called up to take to the pitch, and that was at the KSMS grounds in Ruaraka, Minye spoke of his displeasure at captain Victor Wanyama, who plays for the Premier League side Tottenham Hotspur, for not honouring his call-up despite being injured, terming it unprofessional. Minye also stated that Patrick Matasi would be the man between the posts, with Gor Mahia goalkeeper Boniface Olwatch missing in action. The condition of the KSMS pitch was also a source of concern for Minye, who seems resigned to the fact that Ghana is superior opposition. Now, in the absence of Wanyama, David Calabar Owino, who is the probable captain, but he picked up a knock in the Wednesday morning training session.
Even it's only 30,000, but we can put more in the stadium in Kasarani. But everyone in red color.
Naomba tuma fans come out in large number, wa support team. Tuta give our best na kila mtu na I'm sure wataenda home wakifurahi.
Everyone is geared up. Psychologically, I believe the players are. We are aware that Ghana is a good team, but of course we are going to play at home in front of our home fans. You know, we have people to back us up, and we are really going to give it a push. And we are hopeful for a good result come on Saturday.
On to tennis, Rafael Nadal survived an onslaught from Dominic Thiem to eventually make it to the US Open semi-finals. The defending champion suffered a bagel in the first set.
So let's go for lunch after this. But next up is NTV Sasa with Jane Gweri and Nuru Abdulaziz. And this, for your information, okay, this is Charity Day, International Charity Day, but this week is Burns Week, yani kuchomeka. And we will be having 2 survivors of such ordeals and a doctor to explain a bit further, because these are incidents that happen unnecessarily and can be avoided. But if you have a relative, a friend who's gone through such an ordeal, this is an episode to watch. They'll also have an update on the very latest on Sharon Otieno, and one of the latest developments is that DCI boss Kinoti has dispatched a special team of investigators to probe the murder of Sharon Otieno, an attempted murder of NMG reporter Barak Odwor. Good afternoon, I'm Mark Masai.